time.
Hi, everybody. Who is handsome more than me? I'm jealous.
Of course, Dimitru.
Only him is there.
Are we starting now or shortly? May I try sharing my PowerPoint slides with you just to make sure? I am on a borrowed computer courtesy to my colleague, just to check whether it's going to work. Can I? Can you see the screen? Hello.
Yes, Erdoğan.
Yes, we can okay, see it. Tamam hocam. Hocam yeni imajınız güzel olmuş.
Sağ ol. Pandeminin getirdikleri.
Hocam yakışmış. Daha böyle yani zaten bilgiliydiniz. Daha böyle bir şey ne derler. Bu Çinlerin dediği gibi Sifu master şeyine ulaşmışsınız hocam. Çok yakışmış.
Eyvallah.
Himmet hocam saygılar herkese. Mehmet hocam.
Saygılar herkese, merhabalar. Özbekistan'dan hocam Mehmet Naci hocam Aksaray'dalar. Onurlandırdılar. Efendim Mustafa Tümer hocam sensiz olmuyor. Olmuyor. Al biz o zaman Kıbrıs hocam. Yine yeniden hocam.
Az kaldı.
Hello Dimitri from Romania.
Hello.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you online.
Thank you
I
so
hope to
much.
see you in person.
Muhammed hocamız buradalar.
So,
Hayrettin Özden arkadaşımız Bolu'dalar. İnci hocam sağ olsunlar buradalar. Ayşegül Koçak hocamız. Gülbeniz hocam merhaba.
Merhaba hocam. Hastaneden bağlanabildim.
Hocam
Açılışa katılmak istedim.
Çok memnun oldum sizi gördüğüme hocam.
Çok sağ olun. Ben de hocalarımı gördüğüme çok
hocam.
memnun
Bilal
oldum.
hocam buradalar. Bir müzik dinletisi olacak. Orkun hocayla. Canlı olacak tabii. Yani hocamlar buradalar. Saygılar sunuyorum. Hocam teşekkür ederiz. Gözde Hoca merhabalar. Sinan Bey görüyorum. Tülin Hocam girmişler. Hatice Hoca var. Efendim Adnan Hocam saygılar, selamlar. Nişat Hocam girmişler. Evet yani artık
Yes. Yeah, I'm in Austria. Good morning. I think there are some people with some sound in the background. All right. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. And I know many of you are actually connected from all over the world and at various different time locations. So, therefore, I'm actually saying good morning and good afternoon and good evening to everyone. Directors and sayın rektörlerimiz, mayors and administrators, sayın belediye başkanlarımız ve yöneticiler, dear professors, değerli hocalarım, dear guests, değerli katılımcıları, welcome to the 6th EMI Congress. EMI 6. Kongresi'ne hoş geldiniz. And in this Congress, actually, we have lots of papers from different countries. We have about 116 papers from about 26 countries, from also 184 academicians and professors. And these professors actually are attached or affiliated to more than 104 institutions and universities around the world. So we actually have had different congresses in the past. Some of the previous congresses placed in Northern Cyprus, some of them in Macedonia, and some of them also in Bosnia. There are different places that we have had this Congress, and this is the 6th Congress. In total, so far, within the last 5 Congresses that we held, 1,029 papers actually were presented in the past Congress. So with this present Congress today, in total, the EMI family, or let me say the EMI community actually has seen a total of 1,145 papers presented. So what I will do now, I would like to invite the Congress chair, Professor Himmet Karadal, to give a short speech. Afterward, I will then invite Associate Professor Naji Efe, the founder of International University of Gorazde, also a speech. And then afterward, we will be inviting Dr. Evren Dishar, Mayor of Aksaray, who will also give us a short speech. And in addition to that, there are going to be some other panels. For instance, we'll be having an own panel that will discuss the issue of entrepreneurship during the COVID-19 crisis. And in addition, also, there's going to be a panel, a special panel in Aksaray, which is going to be face-to-face. It's going to be in Aksaray Science Center. And also, there will be an opening workshop as well at 15 o'clock, again at Aksaray Science Center. And then we will have most of the presentations, both in Turkish and in English, going to be 4 different sessions. So I also, in addition to that, we will be also having a short piano presentation or demonstration online, which I guess everyone will be happy to, will find it interesting or will be happy to see. So I did like to invite Professor Himmet Karadal for short information or brief information about the Congress. Himmet, please. Himmet to the machine, we cannot hear you. Put on your mic, please.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone. I know many participants are in different parts of the world, and I wish to express my sincerely appreciation and graduates. Welcome to 6th EMI Congress, Entrepreneurship and Management Inquiries, shortly, Entrepreneurship and Social Sciences Congress. Greetings from Aksaray, the White Palace of Anatolia. In the 6th EMI Congress, about 200 academicians and practitioners from 26 countries and over 100 institutions and universities around the globe will present 116 papers over 20 sessions. In addition, there will be 2 panels and workshops on issues related to entrepreneurship during crisis in English and Aksaray workshop in Turkish. In this Congress, presentations will be in Turkish and English. I would like to thank all presenters and contributors. Firstly, thanks to Honored President Professor Mustafa Tümer from Cyprus. He and Dr. Evren Dinçer, Mayor of Aksaray. There will be a special session in the White Palace of Anatolia, Aksaray. I wish to express my gratitude to co-chair of our Congress, Associate Professor Dr. Muhammed Abu Bakar, Associate Professor Dr. Dababrata Chaudhry, and Associate Prof. Muhammad Saigun. In addition, we thank the founders of International Gorazde University, Edina Brutus and Professor Naci Efe for hosting the Congress. And then thanks to Süleyman Muskic and Oğuzhan Karanfil for technical support. I hope it will be a good Congress for all of us. Now, I want to give brief information about Congress in Turkish. Herkese merhabalar. Bosna Hersek Uluslararası Burazili Üniversitesi ev sahipliğinde düzenlenen kongremize hoş geldiniz. 6. Uluslararası EMI Kongresi'nde 26 ülkeden, 104 kurum veya üniversiteden 184 bilim insanı veya akademisyen tarafından hazırlanan 116 bildiri 20 oturumda sunulacaktır. 6. kongremizle beraber 1145 bildiri sunulmuş olacak. Yani Kıbrıs'ta başladığımız yolculuğa yine Bosna'da 6.sını düzenlediğimiz kongrede kabul edilip sunulan bildiri sayısı 1145. Bu süreçte katkılarını esirgemeyen başta bilim insanlarına ve kongremizi destekleyen başlangıçta belirttiğim gibi ilk ve 3. kongremizi ev sahipliği yapan, bizi yönlendiren, cesaretlendiren, motive eden Profesör Doktor Mustafa Tümer hocamıza, yine ilk kongrede olduğu gibi kongremizi bir bütün olarak uluslararası düzeyde yöneten Doçent Doktor Muhammed Abubakar hocamıza ve tabii yine Doçent Doktor Muhammed Saygın hocamız teknik olarak ve akademik olarak program bütün safhalarda katkılarını esirgemedi, sağlıklı bir şekilde söz konusu. Efendim, kongremizde girişimcilik, yönetim, iletişim başta olmak üzere sosyal bilimlerin çeşitli alanlarından nitelikli bilimsel bildiriler sunuluyor. Kongre programımızda bugün yaptığımız açılıştan hemen sonra İngilizce olarak bir panelimiz olacak. Panelimiz yine Profesör Doktor Mustafa Tümer hocamız, Doçent Doktor Taba Çöldürü hocamızla birlikte İngiltere'den yürütecekler. Ve bu panelde Kırgızistan'dan Doçent Doktor Elira Kurdubeyeva hocamız, efendim Gürcistan'dan Azer Dilançev, Doçent Doktor Alen Azer Dilançev, yine Özbekistan'dan Doçent Doktor Erdoğan Ekiz hocamız, Romanya'dan Doçent Doktor Dimitri Golbaç hocamız ve devam eden yine New Zealand, Yeni Zelanda'dan Siham El Kafafi, diğer hocalarımızla birlikte güzel bir panel gerçekleşecek. Konu çok ilginç. Mustafa Tümer hocamızın da yönlendirmesiyle malum pandemi dönemindeyiz. Yani kriz dönemindeyiz. Henüz atlatmış değiliz. Peki girişimcilik bu dönemde ne olacak? Çok önemli bir konuda uluslararası düzeyde çok yetkin bilim insanları tarafından bir sunum gerçekleşecek, bir çalışma gerçekleşecek. Efendim arkasından saat 2'de Aksaray'da bir yüz yüze oturum gerçekleştireceğiz. Ve burada sunum yapacak hocalarımız Doçent Doktor Yavuz İkçi ile Doçent Doktor İnci Erdoğan Tarakçı hocamız bir sunum gerçekleştirecekler. Yine çok önemli girişimcilikle yakından ilişkili Doçent Doktor Muhammed Saygın hocamızın modere edeceği ülkemizin kıymetli Ticaret Sanayi Odası Borsa başkanlarıyla girişimcilik oda ilişkisi üzerine güzel bir panel gerçekleşecek. Bu panelde, tüm panellerde katkılarını esirgemeyen bilim insanı, uzman, yönetici arkadaşlarımıza çok teşekkür ederiz. Tabii kongremizde birbirinden renkli, çok kıymetli bilim insanları yanında yine bilimsel çalışmayla yöneticiliği, girişimciliği, efendim bürokrat olarak çok kıymetli değerlerimiz var. Onların bildirileri kongremizi daha da güzelleştirip daha da bizi motive ediyor. Tabii kongremizin bilim dünyasına, akademik camiaya, yani bilim insanlarına tabii, kamu yönetimine, özel sektöre, STK'ların yönetimine ve etkinliğine katkıda bulunmasını her şeyden önce temenni ediyoruz. Bildirileriyle katkıda bulunan çok kıymetli bilim insanları, bu kongremizin gerçekleşmesinde düzenleme kurulu, danışma kurulu, bilim kurulu, hakem kurulundaki meslektaşlarıma, kongremizin akademik ve toplumsal fayda sağlamasını temenni ediyor. Emeğe geçen herkese, ismini sayamadığım her bir saygıdeğer kıymetli hocalarımıza, dostlarımıza buradan selam ediyor, teşekkürlerimi sunuyorum. Saygılar sunuyorum efendim. Muhammed Hocam buyurunuz.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Kongre Başkanımıza konuşmalar için teşekkür ediyoruz. And then now we would like to invite Associate Professor Naci Efe, the co-founder of International University of Uluslararası.
Hi, everybody, dear chairman of the all academic personnel, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to EMI Congress. I am Associate Professor Dr. Mehmet Naci Efe. I am chairman of the board Ecole Group companies and also founder in Gorajda University. And we have in Turkey also techno center named Siyotekmer about healthy technology and cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. So 2 years ago, we have university in Bosnia-Herzegovina. We have 4 faculty and 1 faculty of healthy science, 1 faculty of technique, and another faculty social science. Also, I am in there. We have education faculty. So we want cooperation, minimum 20 country and 20 university. We have been all about them. I think it is my idea, the world change is very firstly. So we need thinking slowly and fastly action. It is my pleasure to participate once again in this kind of event, or as their colleges, Professor Dr. Himmet Karadal would say, this festival of knowledge, this time organized in the name of International University of Gorajda, in collaboration with many other institutions from all over the globe. I must admit that this kind of congress are exactly the thing that we in International University of Gorajda, where I have the honor of being Dean of Faculty of Social Sciences, are striving for. Our university is now nationality accredited institution. We have all local accreditation now. So, and we are on our way to make it recognized worldwide. We are proud that pandemic, and that is prime example of how can management be conducted in the times of crisis. I am also sure that all of our colleges gathered here for these 2 days will give even more value to our university. I am certain that we will expand each other's knowledge, and I certainly hope that we will have excellent time. So the world change really, and new generation change. So many professional work now lost, many job now lost. So born new professional job. So we need to change ourselves. We have to change our perspective. I invite you to think fast in a changing fast world. So thanks again to our dear organizers and host here in Turkey, starting from Dr. Enver Dinçer, the mayor of Aksaray, to all others, dear speakers, scientists, and good souls who share our compassion for science and endless development. I wish success to all participants. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Naci Efe, for your speech. Naci hocamıza konuşmalar için teşekkür ediyoruz. And then now we also like to invite the co-founder of International Brazil University, Professor Edina Brutus, for short speech.
Cijenjeni akademici, želim vam dobro jutro iz našeg i vašeg lijepog Goražda.
Dear academics, I wish you good morning from our and your beautiful city of Goražde.
Izražavam zahvalu svojim saradnicima i kolegama, na prvom mjestu profesoru Himetu Karadalu, profesoru Mehmet Naci Efu, profesoru Muhamedu Abukabru i mnogim drugima koji su mi udijelili čast i zadovoljstvo da otvorim 6. po redu kongres na temu poduzetništva i društvenih nauka po imenu EMI.
I would like to thank my associates and colleagues. First of all, Professor Himet Karadal, Professor Mehmet Naci Efe, Professor Muhammed Abubakar, and many others who gave me the honor and pleasure to open the 6th Congress on Entrepreneurship and Social Sciences called EMI.
Danas smo vrlo ponosni na svoj protekli rad u ovoj godini iz 2 razloga. Prvenstveno jer je naš univerzitet od prošle sedmice postao punopravni član priznatih akademskih institucija Bosne i Hercegovine uz potvrdu kvalitete našeg rada izraženu kroz nacionalnu akreditaciju.
Today we are very proud of our past work this year for 2 reasons. Primarily, because our university last week became a full member of recognized academic institutions of Bosnia and Herzegovina with confirmation of the quality of our work expressed through national accreditation.
Drugi razlog je upravo ovaj međunarodni kongres koji okuplja akademike iz preko 30 zemalja svijeta, što je još jedan od dokaza da se trud i rad uokviren kolegijalnošću i istinskom ljubavi za širenjem znanja uvijek isplati, pa makar to bilo i u najtežim trenucima poput pandemije, koju ćemo, vjerujem, sasvim brzo prevazići i pobijediti.
The second reason is this international congress that brings together academics from over 30 countries, which is another proof that effort and work, trained by collegiality and true love for spreading knowledge, always pays off, even in the most difficult moments like pandemic, which we will, I believe, overcome and win quite quickly.
Tim povodom želim svima da vam čestitam na izuzetnoj hrabrosti i upornosti koju prezentujete i danas ovdje i svima nam osvjetljavate put u zdravu i kvalitetnu budućnost.
On this occasion, I would like to congratulate you all on the extraordinary courage and perseverance that you present here today, and you illuminate the path to a healthy and quality future for all of us.
Hvala svim kolegama na odzivu i prisustvu, te se nadam da ćemo se već idućom prilikom sresti uživo. Hvala vam još jednom i ja bih otvorila 6. EMI kongres da počne.
Thank you to all colleagues for the response and presence, and I hope that we will meet live next time. And I pronounce this Congress open. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Professor Edina, for your speech. Edina hocamıza konuşma için teşekkür ediyoruz. And then now we would like to invite my dear and lovely professor who I cherish so much, Professor Mustafa Tumer, for a short speech. If he is available. And Mustafa hocam.
Sorry, thank you, Mohammed. Well, are we starting the panel or?
No, not yet, William. You can just give a general
okay.
speech. Yeah, about
Okay,
the Congress and all that,
okay.
yeah.
Just a general speech. Thank you, Mohammed. Well, I would like to give the same similar messages. I'm very glad to see the 6th EMI Congress because we initiated in Cyprus the first EMI Congress, and we were just bothering about are we going to be successful? But we see that with the help of the team, especially Himmet Hoca from Aksaray, as he said, the White Palace of Anatolia. And also other friends, Mehmet Naci, Efe, and Dimitru, where he came all the way from his country to North Cyprus, and the other names that Erdoğan Akiz, now he's in, I think he's Uzbekistan. So there are many friends, and we started this initiative again, as I said, in North Cyprus, and I'm very glad to see that we are spreading all over the world from New Zealand. For us, New Zealand is so far away, and I see the names from Nigeria, I see the names from Cameroon, Uzbekistan, Georgia, Romania, Bulgaria, United Kingdom, Kyrgyzstan, and many other countries. So welcome, and I hope we'll have a fruitful conference, and wishing to meet the 7th conference face to face. All the best from Cyprus.
Thank you very much, Professor Mustafa Tumer. Hocamıza konuşmalar için teşekkür ediyoruz. Well, we just received a message from the mayor of Aksaray that he will not be able to actually attend the conference, but he sends his best wishes and regards to all the participants of the conference. So before we move to the panel, I did also like to list a number of supporters of the conference. Actually, as we all know, the International University of Gorazde in Bosnia actually hosted this conference, but also we received some support from the Aksaray Science Center. Also, we received support from COTEMAC. Also received support from Bolizet Abant University, and at the same time, the Free University of Bulgaria also provided some support, and at the same time, also Kamchia Smart City company provided some support. The Macedonian International Vision University also provided support. Kosovo Prison University also provided some support. Istanbul Kent University, Nişantaşı University, and then also CPK, Chamber of Commerce provided some support. So we wish to actually express our deep gratitude and thanks to all these institutions and all these universities that actually provided support for the inauguration and for the success of the 6th EMI conference. And so since the mayor of Aksaray will not be able to participate, we will be moving to the online panel that will be talking about the entrepreneurship during crisis. And in this panel, we will have Professor Dr. Mustafa Tumer. He's going to be the honorary president from Eastern Mediterranean University, Northern Cyprus. We will also have Associate Professor Dabarata, the co-chair of EMI Congress from United Kingdom. We will also have Nikolai, the managing director of Complex Kamcha in Varna, Bulgaria. Then we also have Associate Professor Elira from Online University, Kyrgyzstan. We will also be having Associate Professor there from the International Black Sea University, Georgia. And Associate Professor Erdoğan Akiz from Westminster International University in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Dr. Dumitru from Târgu Viste Valley University in Romania. Professor Dr. Sihan from the director of our research consultancy in New Zealand, and Professor Mansour Nuruddin from the International Business University for the online panel that will discuss international entrepreneurship during the COVID crisis. So I wish to give the floor back to Professor Mustafa Tumer, my dear teacher, and my dear mentor. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we are starting the session, I think.
Yes, we can start the session.
Okay, thanks again, Mohammed. So in the panel, we'll be together with Dava Tabawatra from UK, Nikolai from Bulgaria, and Professor Elira Azer Erdoğan Dimitru and Siham El Kafaki from New Zealand, and Mansour Nuruddin from Macedonia. Well, we choose the topic, the entrepreneurship during the crisis. Well, I would like to point some important figures about the entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial activities during the crisis periods. Well, this is not only for the pandemic crisis. I would like to talk about a research that was carried out in 2016 from a group of academics from Spain. Well, we see that we all know the global entrepreneurship monitoring data, GEM data. And I would like to shortly discuss the results of this data. And we see that the results of this study show that for some entrepreneurial profile combinations, entrepreneurship can have better results during recessions than during boom periods. That's an interesting finding. And entrepreneurial ventures are less numerous during recessions, but can perform better in terms of growth and quality. And what we mean by in terms of growth and quality, we mean in terms of size and job creation. Of course, if they have certain characteristics. So these characteristics play an important role. Well, such positive outcomes are more common in entrepreneurial ventures than that seek to capitalize on market opportunities. Why? Because the entrepreneur has outstanding knowledge of a sector and thus is capable of identifying opportunities. And this knowledge or opportunity recognition capability may depend on the nature of the business because for example, the new business offers innovative products or technology, or because of a combination of these two factors. One of the most interesting results of this study that I found was the poor performance of necessity entrepreneurs during the recession. And according to the indicators or the GEM data in this study, necessity entrepreneurship does not necessarily equate to failure. Although results show that necessity ventures have meager prospects for significant growth. This causality does not hold for the boom period. This is important. And the presence of the necessity-driven entrepreneurs with promising prospects is common. And with respect to success factors, regardless of the economic context, innovation is the most reliable approach for entrepreneurs. So that's an important issue, innovation. Opportunity recognition remains a success factor, in fact. So opportunity recognition. Opportunity recognition is a key factor during the recession. Well, in this study, however, opportunity recognition is ambiguous or at least difficult to measure during periods of growth in light of the contradictory results. And removing this ambiguity in the measurement of the entrepreneurial opportunity is a key challenge for entrepreneurial research. Opportunity recognition is a central issue in the entrepreneurship research agenda. And according to some scholars like Davidson, researchers must develop and test theories about the characterization of entrepreneurial opportunities and the way opportunities interact and shape entrepreneurial process. And one reason for a disappointing lack of progress in several core research areas is the impression of the opportunity constraint. And the results of this study show that economic context moderates the entrepreneur's perception in the quality of business opportunities. So a favorable economic context could magnify the initial attractiveness of a new business. And another important conclusion of this research is that the effectiveness of attempts by formal institutions to foster entrepreneurship during economic crisis depends on the type of entrepreneurship, opportunity versus necessity-driven. And we see that necessity-driven entrepreneurial ventures have weak growth prospects during recession and may offer a poor alternative, besides providing self-employment. So finally, we see that the study had some limitations, and not up to the reliability of the measurement of the variables, as in most of the studies. So that's what I try to focus on. The entrepreneurship during the crisis plays an important role and for the development of the economies of the countries. So, okay, I would like to ask Daba, are you there to make a contribution? So we don't have Daba.
Daba Hoca girmeye çalışıyor hocam. İnternet şey var zannediyorum.
Okay, he's trying to connect.
Müzik.
So, Nikolai from Varna, Bulgaria.
Henüz o yok hocam.
Tamam.
Şey.
Okay, let's go from Bulgaria to Kyrgyzstan. Elira, Professor Elira Turdubayeva. Yes, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Elira.
Hi, thank you very much. I'm really honored to to participate at this amazing conference annual, which has been organized by several universities and outstanding scholars and professors from different countries. And I would like to talk about Kyrgyzstan, which is a Central Asian country, about post-COVID period, what's happening here in terms of media and entrepreneurship. Here in Kyrgyzstan, as you know, all post-Soviet country, which became independent after 1991, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, and we have quite developed media freedom and civil society. It's considered to be island of democracy in Central Asia, compared to our neighboring authoritarian countries. So the media situation now is quite disturbing after the pandemic, which influenced the media system here in terms of sustainability, and now media is just surviving. because of financial crisis caused by pandemic. Also, the digital transformation of media outlets, and which needs reskilling, upskilling with digital tools and digital platforms. In terms of media freedom, we have another disturbing issue, which is a new law which was signed by the president a few weeks ago, which is on limiting media freedom and freedom of speech. It is a law on false information and fake news and misinformation. But this law is regulating social media users, even if they comment, like, or share, or disseminate some critical information criticizing government or some oppositional leaders, then this will be regulated by this law, and the government may use this law in order to limit freedom of speech. Today, now a few hours ago, hundreds of protesters are protesting on a sports stadium, and we are now observing what will happen. Because, as you know, last year in October, we had third revolution. People who are not satisfied with the election results, they protested, and now we have a new president. But still, this new president is becoming authoritarian, limiting media freedom, and also convicting and putting in jail some political leaders in oppositional parties. So now these are all disturbing times. Also, given the situation in the south, in Batken region, the border clashes with Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan, which occurred in May, with the death of 42 people from Kyrgyz side and about 20 people from Tajikistan. So it was a military invasion by Tajikistan to the borders of Kyrgyzstan, claiming some land. So all this turbulent situation in Central Asia, given the situation in Afghanistan with the withdrawal of US troops, now it's not stable, and we have refugees from Afghanistan, and Kyrgyz government gave 500 student visas to students from Afghanistan, and most of them are studying at American University of Central Asia now. All these turbulent and geopolitical and geostrategic issues happening in Central Asia, which has all world powers like Russia, China, and Western countries, it's still continuing, all these power clashes, given the fact that we have both, we had before like US air base and Russian air base based in Kyrgyzstan. Now a US air base left, and only Russian air base we have in Kant. So Central Asia is considered to be the backyard of Russia, and information space is mostly dominated by Russia. So public opinion created through Russian media, and the Russian language media is still dominant. So the Soviet legacy media being used as a propaganda tool by Communist Party is still continuing. Even we had 30 years of independence, still media has this Soviet legacy. So this transformation in countries like Kyrgyzstan, who are in transition, still are now in transition, but on which direction still are not clear. So the liberalization and democratization process has been here for a long time as a process, but still it's continuing, and we still have like a very diverse civil society, very active citizen activists and civil society organizations, NGOs, but they are mostly donor dependent. And in order to be grassroots and to promote democratic deliberation, we need this freedom of speech and civil societies and developed civil society where citizens can claim their rights and fight for their rights. Being surrounded by these authoritarian countries where there is no media freedom, no independent media, no civil society, it's really poses a danger to Russia. That's why Russia is trying to control media space and information space in terms of also security. This securitization and the Central Asia being the backyard of Russia is still being promoted in Central Asian countries. Today, this week, ODKB, this is Organization of Collective Treatment for Military Joint Actions, where there are republics of post-Soviet republics, including Russia, Central Asian countries, and they are now meeting in Dushanbe in Tajikistan, and all presidents are there, but Putin is still, being selective in his attitude towards some presidents using the policy of divide and govern. That's why the integration of these Central Asian countries is a long and difficult process. So people cannot cross borders, also because of pandemic, and there is still they need propiska, which is registration, and labor migrants, like out of 6 million population of Kyrgyzstan, 1 million are in Russia, in Moscow, as a labor migrants. And this from Uzbekistan and Tajikistan, there are more than several millions of labor migrants working in Russia. So Russia is also using this labor migration process as to govern also Central Asian countries, and to give them work permission or blacklisting them or making deportations, and Russian police always looking after these labor migrants from Central Asia, and they are discriminating their rights. So given all these economic, social, political, and cultural and linguistic diverse landscape in Central Asia, the integration of Central Asian countries and this Eurasian Economic Union, customs-free union of where 6 countries are members, is still, the system is not still built. So with the domination of Russia and Kazakhstan, even there is a free flow of free market and free flow of products, customs-free, but still Russian products and Kazakhstani big countries' products are dominated small countries' markets. So that's why local entrepreneurs, local manufacturer is suffering from this because they cannot develop and they cannot export their goods because they need certification, they need to build logistics centers in order to get all these certifications to be able to export all these goods, mostly agricultural goods, from small countries like Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan to Russia. Uzbekistan is still observing how this Eurasian Economic Union will work, and then Tajikistan also observing. They are not member countries, but Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan are, but still we haven't seen much result and effectiveness of this union because these big brothers like Russia, they are regulating this union, and some laws and rules work for us and not for them, like Animal Farm, famous book. So that's why the strategic dependency of Central Asian countries on Russia energetically and also in terms of resources, natural resources, is quite huge. So Russia is using Central Asia in his big game with China and with Western countries and US. And in terms of Turkish emancipation in Central Asia, building, reviving Turkic republics and Pan-Turkism, and reviving Turkic civilization with many minorities, ethnic minorities living in Russia, like Buryats, Chuvash and Hakas and others. They are also, Russia is also started the policy like limiting Turkish influence in Russia and also in former Soviet republics like Central Asia. We have here Kyrgyzstan Turkey Manas University, which has been recruiting for 30 years hundreds of students from Russia, a Turkic nation. But beginning from last year, Russia prohibited to recruit students from Russian Federation to this Kyrgyzstan Turkey Manas University in Bishkek. So they cannot get students anymore from Russia. Russian government is justifying that the aim of this university, even if it's educational, its mission is to revive Turkic civilization and to unite Turkic republics with the Turkic root. And also they are not recognizing the diplomas of graduates of this Turkish university in Russia, so they cannot work in Russia anymore, beginning from last year. So all these great games happening in Central Asia, and Turkey supported Kyrgyzstan in this border clash in May this year with Tajikistan. Russia supported Tajikistan, gave military equipment and guns, weapons, and Putin to Rakhmonov, and Turkey supported Kyrgyzstan, like Turkey supported Azerbaijan, in a war with Armenia. So that's why Russia is afraid of the Turkish influence and political support in Central Asia. So all these big games are also, foreign policy of the Central Asian countries are still weak and not strategic. And in terms of information communication technologies, the cybersecurity, we still have quite weak infrastructure for cybersecurity, being given the more than 2,000 surveillance face recognition cameras, which are built in Kyrgyzstan by Chinese government company like Hikvision. They are still deploying these face recognition cameras in every intersection of Bishkek, which is capital city of Kyrgyzstan, and in Almaty and Astana in Kazakhstan. Even in public transportation and public buses, they are deployed with face recognition cameras by Chinese government technology company. So all this data is being gathered, all our facial data, and being sent through the data center, which was built and sponsored by Chinese government company, to Beijing. So in terms of cybersecurity, and this is a real, poses a real problem, given the fact with Xinjiang province in China discriminating the rights of religious minorities, Muslims, Uyghurs, who are about 30 million and who want to be autonomous in China. So this is causing a real problem. The main aim of these face recognition cameras may be also to get Uyghurs who are in Central Asia. Yeah, sorry for exceeding my time, and all this media and turbulent times and post-pandemic is causing this kind of uncertain times in Central Asia. Thank you very much.
We thank you, Elida. Well, we now more feel that we are having an international conference, and a part of the world that we are not so close geographically, especially from Europe, from Cyprus. So it's interesting to hear the cases from the region that you live in, Asia, from Kyrgyzstan, and geographically, especially now you have the Afghanistan problem, you have the neighbors, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and interesting. So thanks for all this information, that now we are more familiar with your country and the region. Well, thank you, Lila, once again. Okay, I see Dava, brother Dava from United Kingdom. So we'll summarize, Dava, what we try to focus on the entrepreneurship during the crisis periods. But once again, thanks to Lila, that entrepreneurship will play an important role in making the people to get together from different regions, from different cultures. In other words, the trades. So entrepreneurship thus will cause trade, new relations, and so the people and the politicians will think more carefully about their decisions, since they will have economic relations and the trade among these countries. Yes, Daba. If you open the microphone.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody. Sorry, I was in another meeting, honestly, and I just finished that one and rushing to this one. So good morning and apologies to being late. But thank you very much for Professor Mustafa Timur, Professor Himmet Karadar, and obviously all of you, Mustafa, Abu Bakr, Joel. And I can see like a lot of my friend is there. So that is the really beauty for this conference, to meet and once a while to see everybody. And I think this that is the something that we obviously missed last year. I think last year it is. I think last year we didn't done it, isn't it? If I'm not wrong. I think that is only one year we missed. So now, how long I have it to talk, Prof? How many minutes I have? 5 minutes?
Well, 5 minutes, please.
Okay. So in theory, actually, what I was saying that, first of all, I again really thanking to all of you, especially the contributors and the organizing committee, and we tried our best to manage everything. But I think all of your presence is a beauty, and that is the most important thing after post-pandemic or after pandemic, to meet all of you in one platform. So thanks to Professor Himmet Karadal. And obviously all his crews and all our team member and everyone. Now, what we actually, I just joined and I heard about the ILERA that's talking about the entrepreneurship in Central Asia. And I have a great experience from Kazakhstan. I did a lot of work especially in Aktau region, Mangasto region. I don't know whether you know that region. And entrepreneurship is, I think, a very crucial and vital, especially this time of the period of our journey, because this pandemic last couple of years we had a lot of issues, but I can see this actually the very positive influence from this pandemic, because the way the organization, the way the business are transforming their technology, it unbelievable. I'm sure Professor Mustafa Timur and obviously Abu Bakr and all of us, actually, I'm obviously there is a lot of expert in here. I don't want to say it like a name was, but I'm sure all we understood what happened last 2 years and how we transforming our normal classroom to digital classroom, especially the online teaching, home-based teaching, all connections. So this is something is really we need to be more careful in future, because this pandemic not finished yet. It is actually the beginning to probably is, if we put in the scale, I think that is we are in the probably in 4 or 3 and 4 number out of 10. So that means it's still 7 point we have to be covered to understand that pandemic is finished, pandemic is settled, and we can do our normal, normal life and normal activities. So this type of thing we need to be discussed. Probably, I'm sure next 2 days, a lot of people will talk about the pandemic, talk about the entrepreneurial mind mapping, digital transformation. In the between, we can see there is a blockchain, especially cryptocurrency. That is a digital money, digitalization, digital changes. Actually, is the most important tools at the moment for many people. Especially we are talking about here in the education sector, and I'm sure all of my colleagues will discuss many things. So I want to invite, or I want to really request to all of you to keep in, listen and contribute and the debate, because conference does not mean just presenting your paper and just say, oh, I presented and finished. No, we want to see actually if some good practice, if something we can debate, if we can, obviously in the end of tomorrow, we can discuss again what is, what we learn from this conference or what we learn from different people and how we can actually accommodate all activities, all points that we discover from many researchers, many scholar, many professor, many colleagues that obviously going to present paper in next couple of days. We want to see like how we can implement. Now the question, as I mentioned earlier, we want to see how we can actually see in the application and consequences, how we can see that application could become to our end, and the new generation, especially the 6th generation, those people are now 10 years or 5 years old, how they can actually cope with this technology, how they can see the world is changing. Now, obviously, we all are, I think, middle-aged people, obviously in age of 40s, between 30s and 50s. Now, in our early stage, we never think about this thing at all. Now, we have to think about that 40 years later, 30 years later, what will be changing, how this technology could be covered and make the change to the whole nation, whole world, and the new generation. So I think this conference will make those discussions. Thanks to everybody, whoever bringing new knowledge and skill. We want to transforming this knowledge to one place to another place. This platform is a beauty from 26 countries at the moment sitting of this conference. So a lot of knowledge will be explored. Again, we want to see we are academic, we are not a mean people. We want to explore our knowledge and skill to other people, other nation, other generation. And I hope this will be the most powerful platform and most powerful conference to transforming knowledge to the new generation. So that's all. I think I don't want to take more time because a lot of other scholars, a lot of my colleagues is waiting. So thanks for giving this opportunity, especially for in this particular time, and we will talk again and today, tomorrow, and thank you again to all of you, and I hope to meet you sometime. Thank you.
Thank you, Dava. Thanks for your contributions. And well, digital money, that's an important issue that Dava focused on. Well, we were just questioning digital money when the first day started, but I think especially after the event, now the governments are looking for better ways to use digital money because it will be much more easy to track the flow of money if all the money is digital. Anyway, so as Dagmar said, we want to see concrete collaboration. So please do not hesitate to contact with each other. It's a good opportunity, a good platform to have colleagues from 26 different nations or countries. Okay, so thanks, Dava, again. So, well, I got the information that Dr. Azer, he's not so good.
Hocam,
So,
Mustafa Hocam,
efendim.
Azer Hoca hastanede COVID olmuşlar. O yüzden selamlar var, gelemiyorlar. Onu arz etmek istedim. Bir de müzik dinletimiz vardı. Bekliyorlar arkadaşlar hocam. Eğer uygun görürseniz o dinletiyi Muhammed Hocam alır.
Tamam. Hazırsalar.
Hazırlar hocam, bekliyorlar şu anda.
Okay, sorry. Professor Himmet just informed me again that Professor Azer is in hospital because of the COVID. And I hope he will get soon well. Okay, so Muhammad, so I'm going to give a break or I'm going to finish the session and have the music?
Well, I think we can just give a short break. After the music, then we can continue the panel.
Okay, so Orkun Karakuş, I think, merhabalar. So, teşekkürler bize güzel bir dinleti hazırladığınız için. So again, thanks to Orkun Karakuş, as I see from the name. we'll have a nice break with a nice music. Okay, thank you.
Merhaba, ben Züleyha Karakuş. Gazi Üniversitesi'nde doktora programındayım. Eşim Orkun Karakuş, Balıkesir Üniversitesi'nde araştırma görevlisi. Sizlere Rosamaldi'den İspanyol dansını seslendireceğiz. İyi seyirler. Hello, I'm Züleyha Karakuş. We will perform the Spanish dance of Rosamaldi with my wife Orkun Karakuş. Enjoy the show.
Nasıl alıyorum? Bu adamın lastik alamıyor mu? Adamın kodu yok, alamıyor mu ya? Nasıl alıyorum? Benim yok. Abi garip çekiyor. Bilmiyorum. Evet. Devam ediyor.
Thank you, teşekkürler. That was a good break and we really motivated. The music is very important for everyone's life. Okay, thanks again. So I would like to continue with Uzbekistan. Erdoğan hocam.
Burada hocam. Buradalar.
Okay, so yes, welcome Erdoğan from Asia. So it's good to see you from Uzbekistan. We cannot hear you.
Thank you very much, Orkun Karakuş
Hello.
and his daily and his dear wife for their demonstration. Mustafa Hojam, I think the panel can be continued, or maybe we can wait for a short time, and then maybe, I don't know if the others are here.
Hello.
Yes, Erdogan, you can
Erdogan, we
continue.
can hear you.
Okay. Because for a second, I thought I am not being heard. All right. If it's okay, I would like to share my presentation. Very brief.
Hocam bu arada çok teşekkür ederiz Zülal Hocam, Orkun Hocam. Gayet güzeldi. İşte hocam dediği gibi bir motivasyon oldu.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Erdogan, and I am very recently start my work in Westminster International University in Tashkent. And I am very amazed with this beautiful country. And as part of my keynote or my speech, I would love to share my initial experience and how tourism in the time of crisis being handled in Uzbekistan. If I may, here is my presentation, and let's go. Let me say this. Okay. I will briefly mention what was the tourism like. I'm not going to repeat what my colleagues already put forward recently in a couple of recent publications and in the opening speech. Rather than focus on Uzbekistan and my humble experience here from what I have been reading and what will happen in terms of the government plans to use tourism as overcoming the crisis in the nationwide. And that is very interesting. And of course, there needs to be more research done and more studies done. Hopefully, we may collaborate with some of you who would be interested in. I will be very happy to do that. Now, before COVID, we all know that the tourism was booming for the last 10 years. It was not 10 years actually, during since 1950s. Last 70 something years, it was growing, and the last figure was 1.5 billion. This was before the pandemic, and it helped create 1 out of 9 jobs in tourism and hospitality related services. And we were talking about $1.7 trillion according to UNWTO's statistics. But those were the days. And what happened is once the COVID hit, most, if not all the countries, some form of travel restrictions and bans, and it affected, now that we are done with 2020, we know that the ruins or the effect, real effect of COVID. I'm not going to go in specific numbers, but you can see that both financially, in terms of employment, in terms of time and money spent, it was and still became a continuous pain. However, like 9/11, like other crises happened before, SARS and other pandemics, the development of vaccines and travel related help, guidance from the World Health Organization and the government's efforts in each country is allowing rather limited, but opening up started soon. With vaccination cards, with spatial tests, we are traveling. That's good news. So before pandemic, Uzbekistan is a very interesting case. Until 2014, the previous under the previous president, the country was rather closed. It was open to only 9 countries without visa. The other countries got to get a visa with really hard conditions, and it was not very easy to get. However, as you can see from the chart, starting from 2016, there's a very sharp increase in the tourism, international tourism numbers. And the previous number before the pandemic was almost 7 million international visitors visiting Uzbekistan. Now, some of you might say that, oh, 7 million may not sound like a huge, but if you have a very quick look in early 2000s, these numbers were 100,000s. Compared to that, the present administration is very strong in developing the tourism. Now, does that mean there was no tourism in Uzbekistan? No. You will see in the next slide, I have very, very summary updates. Domestic tourism is very strong in Uzbekistan. Having all the natural and historical sites and riches, Uzbek people rather stay within the country. They either visit their relatives and friends, or they take leisurely breaks within the country. Now, there is a little bit reason for that. For any Uzbek to go outside the country, they need to get kind of an exit visa from the government. In some countries like Saudi Arabia, as a foreigner, we have to get that exit re-entry visa. But for local citizen of Uzbekistan, in order to go out, they need to get kind of approval. From what I heard, it's not impossible to get, but you cannot just buy a ticket and fly out. There must be some kind of rules and regulations. And because of that, domestic tourism is very strong. This is very interesting, definitely worldwide of noteworthy of tourism research on this area. And not only within the country, but most of the incoming tourists from the Commonwealth of Independent States. These are the ex-USSR countries, like neighboring countries like Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, and this neighborhood. In a nutshell, as you can see, these are how much the tourism is increased compared to recent statistics. For instance, although, as you can see, both the green and the dark blue, domestic and international or foreign tourist numbers are always on the rise for the last several years. But this is very interesting. The domestic tourism, as you can see, is always higher than international tourists. And if you don't consider 2020 because of pandemic, in 2021, as you can see, the numbers are increasing. First couple of months, statistics show that it revert back to 2016 numbers almost. So the government recently announced a presidential decree in 2020, which is among with other industrial areas focusing on the tourism. In these degrees, you can see the targeted tourist number by 2025 is almost 12 million international tourists. 4,500 hotel rooms are being targeted, 1,400 tourism and travel businesses to be open on launch. And at the end, it's a generous incentive and support from the government to investment and entrepreneurship. So you might say that what is with Uzbekistan? Uzbekistan, as you can see, located in Central Asia, is one of the two unique countries in the world that is doubly landlocked. That means not only the country do not have the access to the sea or ocean, but the neighboring countries also do not have access to the ocean or sea. So there's one European country, I don't want to make butcher the pronunciation, and the second one will be Uzbekistan. It is not very known, but it's an exotic and fabled destination. It blends nature, adventure, and history of Uzbekistan. And what kind of tourism we can expect from Uzbekistan? It is, besides the cultural, besides the cultural and historical tourism, where you can see the old Silk Road was through Uzbekistan. It is one of the biggest the kind of stopover original hospitality locations were in Uzbekistan. Bukhara, Tashkent, all these locations has significant importance, historical importance. So many cultures pass through. That's why the culture is so rich and the country is so colorful. These are some of the pictures. They don't do justice to the beauty of the country, but because of this richness, there is ecological tourism. There are so many flower, fauna, and animal life that is indigenous to the region. Health tourism, there are great investments are being made on and about the health tourism. Food, the amazing food. I'm sure when I leave the next holiday, I will be, 10 kilos heavier because of the delicious food. Adventure tourism, there are so many mountains and trekking pathways, walks. It's amazing. My family and I, we are very determined to see all, if not most of the country. Mice industry is very big as well. So all these riches of the country, plus the president's and the government supports to reform and constant development of tourism, will in the next couple of years turn out to be the way to overcome the pandemic. It's not only the pandemic that Uzbekistan is now facing, but to rebuild what has been historically not promoted, not focused on. So that is a double challenge, but Uzbek people are very determined, and this is, in the next couple of years, you will see that there's a huge change in the tourism. And I'm very happy to be here to witness that. Thank you very much
Thank you,
for the time, and please feel free to keep in touch if you need anything regarding this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Erdogan. So, as a nice country, Uzbekistan, and I hope one day we'll have the conference face to face in there.
Inshallah.
We say inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay, so my brother from Romania, Dimitru, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yes, please.
Erdogan, we want to see you in that beautiful country also. We hope to see you in another conference there.
Yes, we can organize the next or the following one here, depending on Mustafa and Himmet Hocam's and everyone in the team, if they give thumbs up. It's a beautiful place to host you.
Okay. Hello to all. Marhaba. My name is Dumitru Goldbach. I am PhD lecturer at the Valahia University of Târgoviște, Romania, and also associate professor at the University of Economic Studies from Bucharest. Many thanks to Professor Himmet Karadal, the chair of the EMI Congress. I am glad to see you here, not only academics that I appreciate a lot, but also dear friends that I have met in Cyprus, Cappadocia, Istanbul, like Professor Mustafa Tümer, that I appreciate a lot, Daba, Erdogan also, and Mohammed. First of all, I want to tell you that I'm sad because I can't see you in real. I was prepared to come to Varna, but the pandemic, unfortunately, didn't let us to see each other. I can't wait for the next conference. It can be in Bucharest also, or at the Erdogan University. Although I like to walk, do you know? About our panel, entrepreneurship during crisis, I can tell you I have been an entrepreneur since I was, I think, 18 years old. I have run various of businesses, like such as importing bread from Moldavia, importing and distribution childcare products from Turkey, milk powder from France, cereals from Ukraine, and other products from Lithuania or Norway also. I have currently a small business in IT and a publishing house. I had ups and downs. If you allow me a joke, if they were just good things, I wasn't a teacher today. Entrepreneurship during crisis, I don't know in your countries, but there are countries, including mine, Romania, where to become an entrepreneur means an adventure, more precisely to have a dose of madness or a lot of courage. This does not apply to foreign investors. We also give them the moon of the sky. There are always crises, at least once every few years, but the biggest problems of this last crisis, COVID-19, was the element of surprise. Just as farmers may have that crisis and do something concrete to reduce their risk, for example, reinsurance. In the case of the COVID-19, everyone was left speechless. If those worst hit by the pandemic would have at least known that such a crisis could be, some of them were cautions, believe that they would have taken some measures in time, such as home delivery in the case of restaurants, or online presence for physical stores. I believe that in addition to a lot of courage, an entrepreneur needs a lot of vision, and also especially to be adaptive. In Romania, many businesses have survived to the fact that they have adapted to the new condition. It is known that we Romanians are very adaptive to new conditions, like Erdogan in different conditions. And I think this new pandemic has changed the paradigm of doing business, of running a business anywhere in this world. New variables will have to be taken into account, and management functions will also undergo a paradigm shift. We will have to be more careful about expenses in order to have a reserve of liquidity. If we work in sensitive industries such as the tourism industry, the public catering industry, or the organization of events, we will have to find the survival solution, or rather to try to put our eggs in different baskets. Until now, the last clause of the commercial contract, the one referring to war, to pandemic, etc., was a clause that the companies put more like this, to respect the format of the contract. Under the new condition, it seems that it will be the most important clause in the commercial contract. I don't think my English is the best, but if I spoke Romanian or Turkish, why not? I think I would have something to speak for 3 days about the problems of entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship in the crisis and the pandemic crisis. So I pass the word on. Thank you. And teşekkürler.
Thank you, Dimitru, my brother from Romania. Okay, so well, for New Zealand, is it morning or night? Professor Siham El-Kafafi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Well, what should I say? Good morning or good night?
No, it is 9:30. No, yeah, it's 9:35 in the evening.
In the evening. Okay, so good evening.
Night, yes.
Good evening. Okay, so yes, Professor Kafafi, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Mustafa, for your introduction. Thanks for Professor Himmet. Thanks for Professor Daba, Professor Muhammad, all my colleagues who preceded me and talked before me. I would like to share my screen with you, please. It's always a pleasure to be here in the EMI Congress. And today I will be talking with you about my research on the women's economic empowerment, realizing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, a post-COVID era. I know that my predecessors talked about entrepreneurship. I am an entrepreneur myself. Arrow's Research Consultancy is actually my company. I would like to share with you today some of my research, and this is going to be the presentation plan. I will try to keep to my time as much as possible. As we all know, the United Nations declared its fight against poverty, and they actually had it through 17, as they call them, SDGs goals, which has got 169 targets in order to realize human rights. I am going to be concentrating today on talking about the impact of COVID-19 on the fulfillment of 2030 agenda of the specific goal number 5 of the SDG, which talks about achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls. The methodology that has been used in this research is a combination between the constructivist and the positivist approach in order to fulfill the requirements of this literature review. If we are going to look at the significance of COVID-19 on the gender equality, actually last year was remarkable, and it was a big landmark because it was the 25th anniversary of the Beijing Platform for Action against Gender Equality. And what happened instead, that the COVID-19 hit us, that pandemic, and that was actually accentuated the gravity of inequality and exposed the vulnerabilities, whether it's social, political, or in the economic systems due to this pandemic. So how did it impact women? Economic impact, of course. It highlighted how the women are earning less, they are saving less, they are holding insecure jobs, and some of them are actually living in close to poverty because, of course, of the lockdowns and the requirement of all of us to stay at home. The women were in unpaid care, taking care of the children and for elderly people. That also put them in vulnerable situation health-wise, and there were risk groups like pregnant women and women in abusive relationship while in lockdown. Also, the pandemic had social stress on women domestically, according to the research. So if we are going to look at the figures, it has been actually mentioned, according to the United Nations Population Fund, that especially in the medical field, women make 70% of the world's global health and social sector workforce. And why are they at risk? Because of the environmental factors, the situations, the lack of the personal protection equipment, of course, having high levels of stress, the financial inequalities in relation to the pay gap. If we are going to look at also the figures talking about the employment, we are looking at New Zealand specifically. Here, the women in the health field, they are about 140,000, while men are 41,000 only, if we're looking at that sector. If we look at the figures in the UK, women constitute 77% of the workforce in the health field. If we look at other countries, they contribute to 70% of the workers, and they are having 50% unpaid carers. If we're going to look also at the CEO levels, the high leadership positions, it is 70% of men in those positions versus 5% for women. So we can see the huge disparity among these figures. So other examples to do with the pay, in the US, there is a gender gap pay. So women there get about 85% from men's earnings. In Australia, it's 86%. In India, 75%. And we can also find there is discrepancies also and inequalities in the pay due to race or different ethnicities. For example, Black women are paid 25% less than white women. If we're going to look at New Zealand, the overtime rate for men is $43.25, while for women it's 36. So we can see that as women, we are earning 70% less than men. This figure demonstrates to you the gap. If you look at the green line there, it demonstrates this is the men pay versus the women pay underneath it. If we are going to look at the holistic picture worldwide, this gender gap is going to even increase. So if we look at the top figures, these are the figures before the COVID. For men, it was 195 million. After COVID, 21 million. And all the women, if we look at their figures, it's also higher. So having mentioned that, of course, because of the issue of COVID-19 and how it exposed all these gaps, the governments have been working hard in order to support women, especially against violence. So lots of governments have allocated millions of dollars, as we can see in Canada, in Australia, in Mexico, and also here in New Zealand, in order to help women against violence. There is also other initiatives that was more innovative in order also to combat the violence against women. Like in China, we have the hashtag anti-domestic violence. They have also in Spain, for example, instant messaging. In Argentina, they have also safe spaces for victims. And in France, they created, for example, grocery stores, hotel rooms, in order to provide a safe haven for women against domestic violence. Having mentioned all these things, I believe that there's also half the glass full. There is actually positivity that came out of COVID-19. And I am summarizing them in those 3 points, which is to do with employment, the global culture, and our new social normal. So if we're going to look at the employment, due to, of course, the lockdown, that assisted that both men and women were actually working from home. So there was increase in flexibility, and that assisted that some of the men would also work from home. So they were participating and helping in the responsibility of taking care of children, which was actually a positive thing. The other thing that is positive is our global culture. We all know that our values is actually related to 2 dimensions, either individualism or collectivism. Individualism, as we know, it focuses on our individual achievements, while collectivism, it's talking about the group goals, about the importance of the society, of the community we're living in. So after COVID-19, this urged people to have more solidarity socially. So people started increasing in their interactions and sense of community, helping and supporting each other. So we started having this shift, the cultural shift from I into we, and the importance of our behavior towards the whole society and community. The third point also is to do with the social effects, the positive ones. People started re-evaluating their lifestyle, their choices, and started doing adjustments. We started having more time for exercising, learning more skills, having career transitions. Look at all of us. The technology helped us. Right now, I am here in New Zealand, and we're having 26 different nationalities are on that Zoom and that platform. That helped in our connectivity more. Also, people started picking up better habits. And after this new normal, hopefully that we still stick with that new normal and new behavior to benefit ourselves. So in order to choose optimal policies, we need to find a balance there in the measuring of these evolutions that impacted as a result of this virus, to start adapting and preventing the measures and mitigating those measures. So my recommendations is also to assist the governments in achieving the 2030 Agenda Goal 5, which is achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls. The first and most important thing is education, and try to narrow the gaps in education. Also, the participation of women in the labor market, the removal of the barriers, the closing of those age gaps, and having equal opportunities. Also, social protection, and also the finances for women entrepreneurs, and having more cash transfer programs. So concluding note is that putting women and girls at the center of the economies will drive better and more sustainable development outcomes. It will support rapid recovery, and it will place us back on footing to achieve the 2030 United SDG Goal 5. Any shift towards more sustainable societies has to include gender equality. Gender equality is not a women's issue, it's a human issue. It affects all of us. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and thank you for listening to me. God bless you all.
Thank you, Professor Kafi. And let's see, end our session, the opening panel. So, Muhammad and Himmet Hocam, thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Everyone. Bye-bye, Mr. Hoca. Teşekkürler. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Muhammad, to you.
Thank you all very much. Thank you very much all for your wonderful participation. And we are very glad that we have different participants from various countries and from various institutions around the world. And at the same time that we have lots of papers to be presented. I'm sure most of these papers will convey and also have produced anonymous knowledge that will contribute to various industries and countries around the world. And so probably I think it would be great if we then move to the paper presentation, although there are some papers presentation that are going on right now. So I think I will see you all there. So thank you very much. Himmet Hocam, do you have anything to say?
Muhammed Hocam çok teşekkürler. Sağ olun. Oturum kapatabilirsiniz hocam. Teşekkür ederiz. Sağ olun.
So thank you all.
Görüşmek üzere. Özür dilerim hocam. Hani İngilizce şey. Saat 2'de yüz yüze bir oturum şeyimiz var. Panelimiz var. Özgün bir çalışma. Şehir markalaşmasıyla ilgili. Yüz yüze bu şeyi online ya da işte şey olarak yayınlanacak. Ahmet Hoca, Oğuzhan Bey'le sistem.
Okay.
Oradan takip etmelerini bekliyoruz.
At 2 o'clock, there is going to be a face-to-face facial session that will take place in Aksaray Science Center. For those who are interested, you can actually follow up via Facebook. It will be actually subscribe on Facebook, so you can follow up on Facebook. And then so we will see you in the other sessions, and then probably we will meet again for the closing sessions. Thank you very much, and see you